Greetings, superior beings, greetings, supreme being. We are all the human race, our common enemy is death. Welcome on Try Something.Vegetarian. I'm 𝙵𝙸𝚃𝚃. Today is the 18th of September 2019 and you're watching the broadcast Jesuits, HOUTHI'S, and the Muslim Brotherhood. How Muslim Brotherhood sabotages peace in Yemen. Okay, so I've planned some articles. I don't know anything about this subject. So what are the different articles that I've found? Destructive Houthi Brotherhood Alliance in Yemen. The portal-center.com. How Muslim Brotherhood sabotages peace in Yemen. GulfNews.com. Jesuits at Georgetown University lying for the Muslim Brotherhood. An article on the website remnantofgod.org. General Petraeus, the CIA and the Muslim Brotherhood creatures of Jesuit papacy on VaticanAssassins.org. He may also be controlled a position now, like 𝙵𝙸𝚃𝚃, for example, a flat earther, and possibly controlled a position. It explained why. It had to do with the west and the east of the US and stories, etc. But he may have vital, crucial information, and perhaps Vatican Assassins has also helped to prevent a world war, if the Jesuits and Masons are indeed a military order with a secret but true universal war policy and an open, false world peace policy. How Muslim Brotherhood sabotages peace in Yemen. That's the same one we have here. And destructive. That's the same one that we have here. Oh yeah, I think that they need to focus on countermeasures to drone strikes. And why hasn't the Saudi Arabian Air Force warded off these drone attacks? Why haven't they taken countermeasures or retaliated against the violation of their airspace or something? So the first article we can read is How Muslim Brotherhood sabotages peace in Yemen. I haven't restarted the PC, so like in the previous broadcast it's kind of brownish. If the PC crashes, well, that's just the way it is.
How Muslim Brotherhood sabotages peace in Yemen. The group's ploy to create cracks in the Saudi-Emirati relationship will not work. Published August 27, 2019, 16:36. GulfNews.com. A Houthi rebel fighter fires in the air in Sana'a, Yemen. Image credit, app. The latest developments in South Yemen have proved the vulnerability of political settlement in the war-torn country. Political solution in the country has been the ultimate goal for the Arab coalition from day one. The coalition's two main partners, UAE and Saudi Arabia, remain committed to that goal. Earlier this month, the Southern Transitional Councils, STC, moved to control the port city of Aden, interim seat of the internationally recognized government, was in response to Muslim Brotherhood-affiliated 𝙵𝙾𝙲𝚃𝚃 parties' involvement in a plot against Southerners. The Iranian-backed al-Houthis bombed military positions of the Southern resistance fighters, who blamed 𝙵𝙾 for conspiring with al-Houthis to carry out the attack. During the funerals of those killed, the Presidential Guard in Aden reportedly opened fire on Southern mourners, who responded and the exchange escalated. The STC and other Southern groups seized government building and kicked officials out of the South. Muslim Brotherhood, through their members and President 𝙵𝙰𝙲𝚃𝚃 Hadi-affiliated media, started a disinformation campaign, trying to pass the events as a failure of the coalition. For a while it looked as if the vicious circle of 𝙵𝙾's opportunism would bear fruit, but the parties concerned are aware of their sabotaging strategy, discrediting others to dominate. 𝙵𝙾 wanted to go back to old days where it was, along with militant groups like HOUTHI'S etc., a main player in Yemen when al-Houthis were bit players. Since the beginning of the al-Houthi coup in late 2014 and early 2015, 𝙵𝙾 asked its members to stay neutral and they seldom joined the resistance against the rebels. In some areas they even helped insurgents, playing the game of wait and see to decide who is whining. When the Saudis gathered the coalition, Muslim Brotherhood in Yemen wanted to be the main beneficiary. Since the Saudi leadership is rightfully wary of Muslim Brotherhood, 𝙵𝙾 picked on the weak legitimate government of Hadi to dominate. Muslim Brotherhood needed to get rid of any other faction in Yemen that was proving helpful to coalition in the fight to end al-Houthi rebellion. Meanwhile, they spread rumors and exploited humanitarian aid distribution.
So nobody would win if there would be a world war. There would be mutually assured destruction, severe nuclear winter, and scalar weapons would wipe out everybody without a Tesla plasma shield. So I think it's a good idea to attempt to prevent a world war, and it may be just what some people have planned, to annihilate 7 billion people and rule the world from Jerusalem, build a third temple. So then we have to obstruct them in every way possible. We stick in the World War III wheel spokes in the real World War III. So sabotage, stall, contain, deter, and end World War III, that type of thing.
To show false patriotism, 𝙵𝙾's plots, Southern fighters played a major role in military achievements against al-Houthis, despite 𝙵𝙾 plots and sabotage, and they naturally needed to be part of any political settlement, whether separation from North, confederation in one state or any other form. They were at the forefront of exposing Muslim Brotherhood. There might have been some who argued that Sunni Muslim Brotherhood were a better choice to al-Houthis, but that's exactly what nobody keen on the future of Yemen should argue with: sectarianism. Moreover, Muslim Brotherhood once stood with Shiite Iran against Sunni Saddam regime in Iraq and collaborated with Iranian proxy groups in other parts of the region. Actually, the STC and other Yemeni groups in the south were active in helping coalition forces, especially Emirati endeavors, on the ground to drive out al-Houthi militia, Al-Qaeda, Daesh and others in the south. They were active not only in Aden but in Yemen as well as other areas where they're entrusted by coalition to keep security, sabotaging peace. 𝙵𝙾 are furious, as those groups can easily expose their sabotaging efforts, and make their infiltration of government posts useless. That's why they pushed it to the point of conflict so as to cry wolf and claim Southerners are weakening legitimacy and playing in the hands of al-Houthis. That's typical Muslim Brotherhood strategy, mirrored everywhere they are active, from Egypt to Morocco, whether South is separated from the North, as some in the region see plausible, or some sort of autonomy is given. In any future political settlement in Yemen has to be fair, of course. Muslim Brotherhood, 𝙵𝙾 will do all they can to sabotage this as it comes at the expense of the benefits they seek to gain from the efforts they didn't participate in. Fortunately, Their ploy to create cracks in Saudi-Emiraty relationship is not working, as both parties can easily identify the saboteurs. Yet, the road to peace in Yemen is going to be long, and Muslim Brotherhood will not relent until they make unsolicited gains. The only guarantee to avoid their sabotaging effort is the strong relationship between the two main parties of the coalition, Saudi Arabia and UAE. Needless to say that if HOUTHI'S government keeps relying on Muslim Brotherhood, it can't claim to be legitimate in Yemen. Dr. Ahmed Mustafa is an Abu Dhabi-based journalist. Sign up for opinion offering perspective on policy, politics and culture. Your email here. This site is protected by reCAPTCHA and the Google privacy policy and terms of service apply. More from 𝙵𝙸𝚁𝚃 Israel polls 1568811675694 Netanyahu, Gantz share same vision of Israel's future. _1809119_ pledge 01 web 1568807750525 Brexit has become a question of allegiance. OPN US attack WTC 1568807740325 9/11 attacks. A passport is not a nation. OPN 190,000 Jesuits at Georgetown University lying for the Muslim Brotherhood. A Georgetown professor has penned a column in the Washington Post saying the Muslim Brotherhood does not exist in America, and even if it did, it's an entirely peaceful organization. In an op-ed titled "Calling the Muslim Brotherhood a Terrorist Organization Would Hurt All American Muslims," Professor Arjun Singh Sethi says that the Brotherhood disavowed violence long ago. Groups such as the Council on American Islamic Relations or CARE, the Islamic Society of North America or ISNA, and Muslim Student Association or MSA have no connection to it, according to Sethi, even though the connections have been documented by countless other scholars, FBI officials and investigative journalists. He also tries to discredit the much-quoted explanatory memorandum on the general strategic goal for the group in North America, authored by Brotherhood member Muhammad Akram. This memorandum, of which there is only one known copy, has been widely discredited and called a fantasy, Sethi writes. Source: one would think that him being a professor he would have done just a tad bit more research before publishing such folderol. Any journalist wannabe could research out in their kitchen on any cell phone to find the real truth on this. But being a professor in a Vatican-funded Jesuit university, one has to realize the power behind the comment, and so the demographic research would have to be looked into to assure a positive outcome on all this before releasing such a statement. The numbers are there, and they knew before going to press that the majority in the nation, and those source and room pay to riot in the streets, are the type of sheeple anyone with viable gray matter knows to be morally unstable to the point they would switch sides at the drop of a dime, or maybe a bulging promised bag of bitcoins, perhaps 30, and so they needed to make sure that to appeal to employed rioters would believe such comments as we see this professor sharing. I mean, after all, they don't want to upset the pawns unless they can profit by their ill repute en masse, and one can rest assured martial law can be quite profitable for those in power, especially those that purchase nationally sized portions of dry goods they can sell at puffed up prices when the store shelves go empty. BTW, for those that don't think Source is working with Catholics, click here. Bottom line is, since the ones rioting do so for the money, and government benefits, offered them by Source and Rome, they cannot possibly understand the basic reality behind the Muslim Brotherhood and their well-funded existence under Obama, as well as the Obama-sanctioned foundations that he set up in the USA during his administration. And if they do understand and riot anyway, they are the ultimate sellout, to say the least. But methinks the majority only understand what their anarchist employer tells them, and since they won't question them so as to keep the paychecks flowing, they do as they are paid to do. And it's not just the rioters either. As we all know, the media is in on all this as well, but it is for the uneducated masses that riot for the paycheck that I post the following articles that have been out there for years regarding Obama, the Vatican and Islam. All three have worked together for years to bring about the long prophesied euphoric agenda of the man of sin in Rome. Many articles below deal directly with the Muslim Brotherhood this Jesuit-funded professor denies exists, and many deal with the simple fruit of their labors indirectly with Muslims in general so as to keep the truth well hidden. In short, you will see by scanning the list that neither Obama or the Pope could not have done it without them. In other words, that professor is a bold-faced liar. Especially notice the bold links. During the debt crisis of July 2011, Obama sent $770 million to renovate Muslim mosques. Source: Obama's publicly sanctioned friends in the Muslim Brotherhood that took over Egypt in 2011 now declare Christians should be exterminated. Source: Jesuits. General Petraeus, the CIA and the Muslim Brotherhood, creatures of Jesuit papacy. 8 years ago, Eric John Phelps, Army General David Petraeus, 2010 Army General David Petraeus, 2010 Army General David Petraeus is a Jesuit temporal coadjutor. He is beloved by the Jesuits at Georgetown University at the nation's capital in Washington, District of Columbia Catholics. General Petraeus has spoken at Georgetown several times. Additionally, the CIA was a creation of the Jesuits in 1947 via the National Security Act signed into law by 33rd degree Dirty Harry Truman. Since then, the American, British, Soviet, Russian, German, French, Canadian, Israeli, Interpol and all the other intelligence agencies around the world have been working together to form the Pope's modern-day Holy Office of the Inquisition. Thus, the Jesuits at Georgetown University and the CIA have an obvious, undeniable, adulterous relationship, the military company of Jesus via its military order of the Knights of Malta ruling the company known as the CIA, also patterned after the order. But what about the Sunni Muslim Brotherhood? Well, in 1928 the Jesuits created the Brotherhood via its Jesuit provincial of the Middle East governing Syria, Lebanon and Egypt. Thus, the cities he ruled were Damascus, Beirut and Cairo, and in Cairo is the most important Masonic lodge within the Muslim world. Herein was the Muslim Brotherhood created to the end that one day all the Middle Eastern Arab nations would be under its control. Yes, the Muslim Brotherhood, like HOUTHI'S created in Spain in 1928, is merely the creature of the Jesuit Superior General, Black Pope Adolfo Nicolas. Therefore we are not surprised to see this invaluable report coming out of Lebanon. Yes, the Arab Spring was a work of the Jesuit papacy overseeing its Muslim Brotherhood as it attacked Libya, reducing the Berbers to subordination to Knight of Malta King Juan Carlos. Mediterranean Union. Knight of Malta Muammar Gaddafi betrayed his patriotic troops into the hands of the Brotherhood and then escaped the country, as did Saddam Hussein in Iraq. Both Jesuit temporal coadjutors were loyal to the designs of Rome and therefore were secretly removed from office, their deaths being faked for the world to see and believe. In conclusion, whatever the Muslim Brotherhood may do, know this: its orders come from Rome, its master is the Jesuit general. To read this most important article out of Lebanon, if you understand Arabic, then view it here. Tags: Jesuit coadjutors continue reading previous Jesuit papacy endgame, slain, risen Pope turned Antichrist, man beast to rule world. Next real story behind 1999 Columbine massacre, Black Pope's cold-blooded murder. Leave a reply. You must be logged into. Update: EJP personal letter to President Donald Trump on Jesuit conspiracy against America, removed from Script D.
Removed from Script D. How bad can this be? Let's see. Well, perhaps I can just cover this and then go through it point by point if there's anything in violation of the YouTube user policy in it.
February 12, 2018. Dear President Trump, greetings in the name of the risen Lord Jesus Christ, the Son of God, very God and very man, Savior of the world and King of Jerusalem yet to come again. Zechariah 14:16-21, Zephaniah 3:14-17, Micah 4-1-4, Isaiah 2-1-5. This letter is both a personal warning and exhortation while in the midst of your present challenges. I am Eric John Phelps, author of Vatican Assassins, Wounded in the House of My Friends, 2007. Having studied the Society of Jesus, Jesuit order, for over 30 years, I know the company's murderous and diabolical past, its present design against the United States of America, the last bastion of the Lord's grand and glorious white Anglo-Saxon Protestant Reformation having birthed Western civilization. The future design of the order includes the making of the final Pope of Rome to be the universal monarch of the world, to be slain with a sword, rise from the dead to be the Antichrist, or man, beast then to rule the world as forewarned by Christ himself. Matthew 24:15-22, Revelation 13-3:18. 17-8:18, Melchior Cano, a prominent Roman Catholic Dominican priest of the 16th century, declared the Jesuits to be the forerunners of the Antichrist. Concerning America, the following is the plan of the Jesuit Superior General Arturo Sosa, termed by the Italians as the Black Pope. Flood the nation with alien Roman Catholic Hispanic invaders, deceptively called immigrants, backed by the order's socialist communist, secular progressive, Democratic Party. This is part of the plot to transform America into a racial nation of color while also making American dominantly Catholic, a phrase used by the high, fourth-degree Knights of Columbus. This design of the Knights making America dominantly Catholic is fully exposed by Jeremiah Crowley in his Romanism, A Menace to the Nation, 1912. Flood the nation with Arab Muslims from the Middle East, Syria, Egypt, etc., as well as with black Muslims from Africa, Niger, Somalia, etc., further changing.
So I think the US might be a better place for Protestant Christians because there are more Protestant Christians in the US. And yeah, I think that for this reason, and in Europe you find more Roman Catholics, of course, Italy, Rome. Eric John Phelps often says all roads lead to Rome or something similar to that, and of course power corrupts. Absolute power corrupts absolutely. And this is not always true. Like recovery begins with non-compliance is not always true. Sometimes we need to comply to heal and to keep on living and stuff.
The demographics in paganizing, dechristianizing and Africanizing America, Loyola and Jesuit theologians, incite anti-white, left-wing American blacks and Muslims against all American whites in general, regardless of their religious creed, intending to drive to desperation and then unite these whites by inciting a black-on-white race, civil war within the nation's largest cities. The black populations have been built by socialist communist policies over the last 60 years, their total composition being at least 25-30% of the national population. The order has enough blacks to foment a race war.
So, in theory, of course, he's trying to expose this. And I think most people realize we are all descendants of Lucy and the hominids. We are all the human race and our common enemy is death. That because of internet many people are beginning to see that now. And they realize that they've been lied to by people that pretend or have been brainwashed with lies to believe that there is some entity in hereafter worth dying for, even blowing themselves up for, and worthy of servitude, while their fellow humans are not supposed to be. So they're beginning to realize that it's a scam, religion is a scam, religion is psychological warfare, part of real warfare. And we can all ask who benefits. So yeah, we gotta keep in mind Jesuits are a military order, but why was this supposedly removed from Scribe D? Scribe D, I think. Well, basically, perhaps they would say, what do you base this on? Is this theory, or does he have evidence that proves things beyond any reasonable doubt? Is he really an expert on the Jesuits? And what can we do to prevent a planned world war? To prevent the red heifer prophecy from unfolding. Perhaps I need to show my temple coin again. Here you can see a temple coin. This is like $3 on eBay, and it has Trump and King Cyrus on it. And the third temple they plan to build on the back side. So perhaps we should be more worried than we are and prepare. But it's better to prevent a world war. To take a shortcut to the perfect society in which we're gonna live happily eternally.
Excite the anti-white agitation to justify the order's goal of imposing absolutist martial law, made possible in the law, by the Emergency Banking Relief Act as of March 9, 1933, and President Roosevelt's Proclamation 2040 promulgated late in the evening on the very same day. Agitate a pro-black and pro-Muslim agitation directed by certain Knights of Malta, specifically George Soros, a racial Hebrew/Jewish/Israelite and Papal Knight of Malta.
So it's clear Eric John Phelps doesn't want to do these things. He's trying to expose the people that have planned these things, and I think that the idea of exciting the anti-white agitation to bring about conditions that justify imposing martial law can be part of it. You have these paid protesters on demand, and they have a certain agenda, of course. Let's see, I can check the other name. So boycott someone you don't like, can also be a YouTuber. Oh, Monsanto companies, McDonald's cutting rainforest, Nike funding child labor. Boycott whoever you think must be boycotted. It's simply a decision many people can make to create a better future. Not to finance evil corporations, evil people involved in population reduction or other inhumane activities, perhaps even illegal activities. Then they must be exposed, arrested. One who knows of evidence must testify. Not to convict anyone without a fair trial, which is impossible, you could argue, with the remote torture technology. The people that have done these things to me and my mother have not been caught yet, and perhaps my mother being Protestant Christian has to do with this subject, namely that they may have planned to exterminate all the Protestant Catholics, basically, that their Inquisition is still ongoing, and secretly they are still torturing and abolishing the Protestant Christians. So that's part of their extreme Jesuit oath. I've also covered their cannibalism, alleged cannibalism, on universecreator.weebly.com, and the other paid protesters who have demandprotest.com and crowdsondemand.com, and they both pay protesters to protest if it suits their agenda. So that's in line with creating a crisis big enough to impose their satanic Luciferian totalitarian global government. But this is all quite theoretical, or not? No, the paid protesters are real, that's proven beyond any reasonable doubt. So there are paid protesters out there.
As is Henry Kissinger, who financed the alleged election of President Obama, the anarchistic Antifa and Black Lives Matter, the building and funding of a massive, pro-socialist communist left-wing army overseen by the Council on Foreign Relations, overseen by the Archbishop of New York City, presently Timothy Cardinal Dolan. This army controls the press, fake news, CNN/MSNBC/ABC/CBS etc., and Hollywood. This alleged left-wing front is to be visibly led by notorious Masonic Jewish labor Zionists, Senator Charles Schumer, etc., secretly loyal to the Pope of Rome, thereby betraying their own racial brethren into the hands of the rising white fascists leading what has been termed the New Right, connected with the Council for National Policy, and chanting "the Jews will not replace us." This calculated imposition of New Right white fascism in the West has been foretold by men such as Martin Lee, the Roman Catholic author of the 𝙵𝙸𝚁𝚃, 1997. Remember, both the left and the right work together subject to Jesuit manipulation via certain secret societies, high-level Freemasons, Skull and Bones, Opus Dei, etc., the detonation of suitcase nuclear weapons in at least 10 American cities as forewarned by military generals McInerney and Bailey in Endgame, 2001. The declaration of martial law and moving the nation's capital to Denver, Colorado, serviced by the occult Denver Airport, foretold by John Roy Carlson, page 360, in his Undercover, 1942, the Jesuit Orders Department of Homeland Security led by the White House Chief of Staff, directing the Executive Office of the President founded by FDR in 1939, will then open its 700 FEMA concentration camps now in place throughout the United States.
So, thus far I haven't found any hate speech, racism. I could check the Jews remark. This alleged, quote, left wing, unquote, front is to be visibly led by notorious Masonic Jewish labor Zionists, Senator Charles Schumer, etc., secretly loyal to the Pope of Rome, thereby betraying their own racial brethren into the hands of the rising white fascists, leading what has been termed, quote, the New Right, unquote, connected with the Council for National Policy and chanting, quote, the Jews will not replace us, unquote. Well, I know that the current Pope is Jesuit, the first Jesuit Pope perhaps. Pope Francis is Bergoglio, but I don't know if he's a crypto Jew, but there are many crypto Jews in the Jesuits as well. So, if that is what he's referring to, betraying their own racial brethren, does he mean tribes, members of the 12 tribes, or fellow Americans, or some other race? We're all the human race, basically. Perhaps he's referring to the white race. There's a Jewish Harvard professor who wants to abolish the white race, for example. And, well, if they are creating a race war, then perhaps he sees it like they are putting fuel on the fire or something. But this is let's read the rest first. Secretly loyal to the Pope of Rome, thereby betraying their own racial brethren into the hands of the rising white fascists. I sincerely doubt this, but okay, leading what has been termed, quote, the new right, unquote, connected with the Council for National Policy, and chanting, quote, the Jews will not replace us, unquote. Is that an anti-Semitic remark or not? Is this why it was banned from Scribe D? I have to think about it longer, because I first have to understand what I'm reading before I can say anything about it, you know. So let's read this part again. Point 6.
The building and funding of a massive, pro-socialist communist left-wing army overseen by the Council on Foreign Relations, overseen by the Archbishop of New York City, presently Timothy Cardinal Dolan. This army controls the press, fake news, CNN/MSNBC/ABC/CBS etc., and Hollywood. This alleged left-wing front is to be visibly led by notorious Masonic Jewish labor Zionists, Senator Charles Schumer, etc., secretly loyal to the Pope of Rome, thereby betraying their own racial brethren into the hands of the rising white fascists, leading what has been termed the New Right, connected with the Council for National Policy, and chanting the Jews will not replace us. This calculated imposition of New Right white fascism in the West has been foretold by men such as Martin Lee, the Roman Catholic author of the 𝙵𝙸𝚁𝚃, 1997. Remember, both the left and the right work together, subject to Jesuit manipulation via certain secret societies, high-level Freemasons, Skull and Bones, Opus Dei, etc.
Well, perhaps his idea is the Jews are massively overrepresented in the US government and Western governments. I'm trying to recall my idea. So basically it just proves that it's okay that Jewish people are massively overrepresented in the US government, because they will not replace us. You can see clearly that there are many non-Jews working in the government as well. So perhaps they mean the opposite, basically, that it's okay to hire Jewish people, it doesn't matter, you have to hire the best person for the job, basically. And that Jewish people are 0.3% of the world's global population, 3% of the American people are Jewish. So the fear that Jews would replace them is insane. You could argue it's the Muslims have the highest birth rate, basically. But okay, let's continue reading.
the detonation of suitcase nuclear weapons in at least 10 American cities as forewarned by military generals.
And of course, if they're nuked, then I'm not that sure if the Jews will not replace them. We'll have to see about that. But perhaps it's better anyway.
McInerney and Bailey in Endgame, 2001, the declaration of martial law and moving the nation's capital to Denver, Colorado, serviced by the occult Denver Airport, foretold by John Roy Carlson, page 360, in his Undercover, 1942, the Jesuit Orders Department of Homeland Security led by the White House Chief of Staff, directing the Executive Office of the President founded by FDR in 1939, will then open its 700 FEMA concentration camps now in place throughout the United States. The roundups will include tens of millions of blacks, Muslims, communists, alien Hispanics, homosexuals, Bible-believing, fundamental Christians and finally, the Hebrew/Jewish/Israelites. As you may know, the Jesuits intend to kill every
I don't really believe that last part, that I think this should be replaced with anti-Semites, perhaps. Who knows who's behind all these FEMA camps, etc.
The roundups will include tens of millions of blacks, Muslims, communists, alien Hispanics, homosexuals, Bible-believing, fundamental Christians and finally, the Hebrew/Jewish/Israelites.
Well, it's perhaps if some people would have their way. For example, Prince Philip has called for culling the surplus population, he calls it, instead of protecting and serving the taxpayers. I think it's absurd. And that these people can also be arrested if it would be in violation of some genocide convention or something. I don't see why not.
As you may know, the Jesuits intend to kill every Jew in North America as the order so intended in Europe and Western Russia when it eliminated the Pale of Settlement using both Jesuit coadjutors Adolf Hitler and Joseph Stalin aided by Churchill and FDR, 1933.
Well, it's the first time I hear this, and I don't know if it's true. I'd have to research this. And if they're pursuing that in any way, they too should be arrested, you could argue. But that's kind of hard to do if they control the intelligence agencies, which are higher ranked than the police and military. So then the idea that they were founded by a crypto Jew Loyola might lead people to believe otherwise, that they may have planned to eliminate all non-Jews, basically, not all Jews, and that this is a controlled opposition story, so I would have to verify it. I don't know if any of this is true, but I have claimed in the past and still think that it's possible that fascists have done this torture to me, and that these people are in no way doing what they're supposed to do, enforcing the law, protecting and serving the taxpayers. That's clear to some targeted individuals that were tortured very severely, and other people might not have any idea. They might not believe that it's possible to remotely torture people with directed energy weapons. But if Citizens Action Network on Facebook is correct, then all the intelligence agencies, which are people that possess this technology, synthetic telepathy and remote torture weapons, Jesuits, are all Masonic and controlled by the Jesuits. So I don't think it's a good idea if I give a link to a possibly anti-Semitic website, but there are websites that list Jewish Jesuits, basically. And you may find that also in Bilderberg, Jewish people are massively overrepresented, at about 80% of them are Jewish. But that doesn't mean that we can blame the Jewish people as a whole for something Jesuits and Masons have done, for horrible tortures, etc. Which they've also demolished Jews in the WTC against chemtrailing Israel. Some talk about Zionists as well, but I think that they have a right to pursue a country for their own people. And I think it's best to give that land from then to Beersheba to the Jewish people to prevent World War III. I think it's best if the Iranian people comply with 12 demands of Pompeo and the US immediately drops sanctions and agrees with the proposal of Zarif and Rouhani to allow these inspections so that they cannot produce a nuclear weapon. Now they have no such guarantee. And who knows, perhaps they already have one now.
To 1945, thus, Project Paperclip, overseen by Francis Cardinal Spellman, the American Pope, brought in tens of thousands of ex-Nazis after Pope Pius XII's Third Reich to man the American Empire's intelligence communities, inciting an unwinnable two-front war, first in the Middle East, 2001, and then in the Far East, beginning with North Korea. This bloodbath will include the sacrifice of America's greatest soldiers and Marines, the defeat of our Navy and subsequent Sino-Soviet Muslim invasion of North America. There are presently millions of fifth-column Russians, Chinese and Muslims in country intended to secure the success of the coming invasion of the West Coast and the apostate Protestant, Baptist southern borders. 10. Destruction of the Temple Mount mosques and Church of the Holy Sepulchre in Jerusalem during the coming World War III. This will inflame the entire Sunni Muslim world, secretly led by Freemasons loyal to the Pope of Rome, to call for a jihad against America, the Great Satan. Why? Because America is to be blamed not only for the decimation of the Jerusalem mosques, making possible the building of the Third Hebrew Temple as plotted by Rome for over 6 centuries, but for the destruction of the mosques in Mecca and Medina. As a Jordanian taxi driver once told me, if the United States military destroys those mosques, all Muslims will unite to kill every American on earth.
I found a similar statement, and of course Zarif also chanting death to America, death to Israel, etc. I covered it in a video. And it's associated with the Houthi movement also. The group's slogan reads as following: God is great, death to America, death to Israel, curse on the Jews, victory to Islam. Unquote. This motto is partially modeled on the motto of revolutionary Iran, which reads, quote, death to US and death to Israel, unquote. So that's why I can understand some people are afraid, and they hope that they change their mottos and slogans to something more sensible. But there was another thing that it reminded me of, then for that I need my writings. Let's first continue reading.
Dear President, in summarizing, this is the order's great conspiracy against us. However, as was Queen Esther, I believe you have been raised up for such a time as this. President Ronald Reagan with Roman Catholic House Speaker, Knight of Columbus, Thomas DePaul and Boston College President, Jesuit priest J. Donald Monon. President Ronald Reagan with Roman Catholic House Speaker, Knight of Columbus Thomas 𝙵𝙰𝙲𝚃 and Boston College President, Jesuit priest J. Donald Monin. I believe you, with the blessing of God the Father through His Son, the risen Lord Jesus Christ, can frustrate the plans of the Jesuits, if you so desire. If I were you, with your power as Commander-in-Chief of your temporary military government during America's present national banking emergency, state.
Is that something you'd want to do? Is that something I'd want to do? Is the Pope Catholic? And making the world safe for pedophiles?
Of war since March 9, 1933, the following would be done. The appointment of Greg Jarrett, hosted many times on New Right Roman Catholic Fox News, as Attorney General, demand the resignation of Jeff Sessions and order Attorney General Jarrett to begin the prosecution of Barack, Barry Davis, Obama, Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton for high treason and conspiracy. Once proven, then trace that treason to the Jesuits of Loyola University, Chicago, Boston College, Boston, Fordham University, Bronx, NY, and Georgetown University, Washington, D.C. As to Hellcat Hillary, her handler has been Christine Marcy, who in turn is overseen by former California Jesuit Provincial Thomas J. Smolich, one of the country's most powerful Jesuits at Georgetown University. Smolich is the Jesuit brother of Jesuit temporal coadjutor Governor Jerry Brown, seeking to totally disarm Californians in preparation for the Chinese invasion of the West Coast.
So basically, he's saying what he would do. Eric John Phelps, I think that this is what he would do. The following would be done. If he were you, with your power as Commander-in-Chief of your temporary military government, he calls it. Number 2.
Order an investigation of certain socialist, communist, clandestine Democrats known as rhinos, Republicans in name only. That would include Roman Catholic Paul Ryan, Roman Catholic John McCain, Roman Catholic Knight of Malta, Chief Justice John Roberts and other notorious Republican liars tied to the Jesuit order. Expel the Society of Jesus from America while reinforcing our borders, with a Great Wall, to keep the company's agents, foreign civilian invaders and its foreign armies out. This will necessitate a complete purge of all intelligence agencies, including the DHS, FBI, CIA and NSA. But know this. AMDG, Jesuit Latin acronym, for the greater glory of God, the God who sits in St. Peter's chair. Jesuit papacy ruled by Satan. VaticanAssassins.org. When you cover the Society of Jesus with international shame and disgrace by driving it out of our sacred country, Father General Sosa will give the command to his American assistant in Rome, in control of his 10 American provincials, to order your murder, extirpation from the face of the earth. This is the modus operandi of the Order of the New Templars, Knights of the Virgin Mary pursuant to the Jesuit moral theologies of Francisco Suarez and Luis Molina, you will be deemed a usurper for not upholding the Pope's temporal power and thereby worthy of death. Jesuits of the Bloody Oath of the Fourth Vow will compete to fulfill their master's order. Leaders of the past who fell at the hand of Jesuit-directed Vatican assassins include England's wonderful savior of the Reformation, Oliver Cromwell, France's King Henry IV, King Louis XVI and Prime Minister Leon Gambetta, Russia's Tsar Peter the Great, Tsar Alexander I and Tsar Alexander II, Italy's King Victor Emmanuel II and King Umberto, Mexico's President Benito Juarez, 14 American presidents including President Zachary Taylor, President Abraham Lincoln, President James Garfield, President William McKinley, President Warren G. Harding, President Franklin D. Roosevelt and our first Roman Catholic Chief Executive, President John F. Kennedy, of recent memory.
I'm still searching for that quote, and perhaps it's best if I do that first, because I cannot really listen well when I'm searching at the same time. George Orwell quotes, "In times of universal deceit, telling the truth is a revolutionary act. If we do not act, we are acted upon." I'm not finding it yet. So let's just turn on the speech engine, because I can't keep the listeners waiting. Sorry about... Oh, it's almost finished already.
Cartoon Jesuits expelled from France 1880 253 by 300. Finally, in memory of the great Leon Gambetta expelling the Jesuits from France in 1881, I offer my services to you, and serious prayer shall be made for you daily. I can be reached at the address and phone numbers below. Sincerely, Eric John Phelps, pre-March 9, 1933. Private American national citizen, 203 South Fort Sellers Road, Newmanstown, Pennsylvania. Zip code accepted, 17073. Office, 61058953000. Church, 61034000734. Continue reading.
Okay, then I continue the search.
Did you know, JFK opposed Israel's nuclear weapons program as soon as LBJ entered office? He tripled foreign aid to Israel to over $130 million a year, when during JFK's rule it was only $40 million. Me. Oppose censorship, being taxed to death with the carbon tax. The people of France finally woke up. Are they gonna try to do the same in other European countries?
I think they're gonna try to get that ego takes money scam money one way or another.
Brownie, smoothie, brownie, smoothie. 𝙲𝙾𝙽𝚃𝚃 translates to God wills it.
So I verified it, and it's still on YouTube. Resurrection requires the death of Jews, Islamic teaching. Uploaded by ASS3AOL. 4.1k views. Muhammad demands the death of all Jew for the resurrection to occur. So supposedly this Muslim priest, I forgot the word for Muslim priest, Sufi, perhaps, 𝙵𝙰𝙲𝚃𝚃 is claiming that resurrection requires the death of Jews or something. Let's see. The Prophet said, he supposedly said, the resurrection will not take place until the Muslims fight the Jews. And the Muslims kill them. The Muslims will kill the Jews, rejoice in it, rejoice in Allah's victory. The Muslims will kill the Jews and he will hide. The Prophet said, the Jews will hide behind the rock and tree. They're taking my throat. Excusez-moi. So they're taking my throat with remotely controlled hybrid insects of DARPA. They've also used depleted uranium. And they've tortured 50 million innocent civilians to death in the Inquisition, so they know how to push people's buttons, how to tyrannize people into submission.
يا عبد الله يا مسلم هذا يهودي خلفي تعال فاقتله. لماذا هذه العداوة؟ لأن اليهود لم يجعلوا لهم محبا على هذه الأرض، لا بشر ولا حجر.
So I think that's just another lie, that there are none who love the Jews. There's the translation on the screen. Of course, it's utter nonsense. They love their own children, and also Goyim probably. So most people have some love for the fellow humans.
لم يجعلوا لهم محبا على هذه الأرض، لا بشر ولا حجر ولا شجر، كل شيء يعاديهم. ها هم يدمرون كل شيء، يدمرون الأشجار، يدمرون البيوت، فكل شيء يريد أن ينتقم من اليهود، من هؤلاء الخنازير على هذه الأرض. وسيأتي هذا اليوم الذي ننتصر فيه بإذن الله تعالى.
So that's uploaded by Palestinian Media Watch. I think the 𝚲𝙃 makes clear that it's an Israeli site. So they're exposing it basically, that's why the video is not removed from YouTube, I guess. 𝚲𝙃 afterlife versus Jewish afterlife, which is worse for you? Perhaps they're both equally evil if they don't exist in reality. But many people would love to believe, because they think they're gonna die anyway, so they're definitely not gonna try to control these factors that control aging. See if this is other interesting videos. Perhaps. I haven't seen them yet, so I don't know. I will survive, Jesus. Perhaps that's a good closing of this broadcast. I get the picture, I turn it off to prevent copyright infringement. I think there has to be a time limit basically, so that people have 1 or 2 seconds to turn it off so they're not infringing the copyright. And I think officially there is a time limit. I can also Google it, but for now I think this suffices. Religion is an abomination, so watch out that you don't kill innocent civilians and regret it for the rest of your life. Many people have, and perhaps they've done great things, perhaps they've saved more lives than they've taken away, and thus secured their place in the world to come in the minds of the rabbis and priests, etc. So I think that may be tied to religion, the idea of divine punishment and reward. But what if it's an AI that serves a certain group of people and it punishes the wicked and rewards, it punishes the righteous and rewards the wicked instead? And serving it will not make things better for anyone except the people that program the AI. Let's take some... Oh yeah, I was gonna put colloidal silver in my nose and I forgot that. Let's see. So... So yeah, how could the drone violate Saudi Arabian airspace? Mosul battlefields anti-drone development defense systems. Countermeasures to drones if they don't have them yet. Because what they consider the enemy also has these drones. I guess that's the way they think, their mindset basically. To them it's all about friend or foe. This is defensesystems.com article, Mosul battlefields anti-drone development. Did I read this already? Let's read it anyway.
Mosul battlefields anti-drone development by George Leopold, Feb 23, 2017. Drones are emerging as one of the asymmetrical threats in the battle for Mosul. A series of Islamic State drone attacks on Iraqi forces fighting to retake the northern Iraqi city have resulted in casualties and a heightened state of alert as ISIS fighters supplement deadly car bomb attacks with harassing drone strikes using off-the-shelf quadcopters rigged to drop munitions. Those attacks by short-range drones have prompted the U.S. military to step up development of countermeasures along with technical assessments of directed energy technologies, officials said. We've assisted in the targeting of ISIL's drones, bringing down almost a dozen, Army Call. Brett Sylvia, a U.S. commander in Baghdad, acknowledged in a January 13 briefing with reporters. The ISIL drones have been something that has evolved over time, Sylvia said, adding that they were initially used for reconnaissance, but more recently have been equipped with munitions that are being dropped on frontline Iraqi troops inside Mosul. Without elaborating, Sylvius said U.S. forces were able to bring to bear some of our technical capabilities, and then the Iraqis are able to couple that with much of their direct fire weapon systems to bring down some drones launched by Islamic State fighters. A number of anti-drone technologies have emerged over the last year using lasers or directed energy as countermeasures that rely on radio control frequency disruption. That latter approach is being developed and promoted by Battelle, the Applied Science and Technology Laboratory, which recently demonstrated a drone jammer called Drone Defender. The point-and-shoot system has a range of about 400 meters and is designed to disable small drones flying in a 30-degree cone before they can attack civilian or military targets. The U.S. military has been evaluating various anti-drone measures for several years, consisting mostly of signal jamming or blocking, and the radar detection and conventional counterattack typically used against aircraft. The Army has solicited proposals for drone countermeasures technology under a program called Counter Unmanned Aerial System. The 2014 solicitation noted that the service wants to cover the spectrum of military operations from the brigade level to the tactical edge. Growing use of armed drones in the fight for Mosul has apparently allowed the Army to put some of the early technical proposals to the test on the battlefield with limited success. Meanwhile, the Marine Corps has reportedly conducted what are described as operational assessments of the Battelle's Drone Defender, with enemy drones now threatening ground and sea forces. Each of the services along with DoD research labs are looking for new approaches for countering the emerging threat. The Defense Advanced Projects Research Agency released a request for information last August on new ways to detect, identify, track and destroy small drones. The solicitation seeks technical data on how to protect fixed and mobile ground as well as naval forces. Given the uptick in urban fighting in places such as Mosul, the DARPA solicitation also emphasizes the need to mitigate collateral damage. All this, analysts note, is part of a larger action-reaction cycle in which jihadists looked for ways to disrupt U.S. drones and then attempt to take the offensive by deploying their own short-range drones in urban battles such as Mosul. As the United States and other countries begin to deploy counter-drone solutions to mitigate the jihadist offensive drone threat, it would be wise to game out creative and inexpensive ways to defeat countermeasures being deployed by the West so the jihadist response to those methods can be anticipated and preempted. Don Rassler of the Combating Terrorism Center at the U.S. Military Academy at West Point, noted in a recent article.
So I think most of these drones are not autonomous, but some of them could be. So basically what I'm saying is they're controlled with a microwave signal, cancer cell phone radiation. Perhaps there are others that are controlled with scalar waves, wireless energy of Nikola Tesla, also powered from the ground. So one way to take over a drone is to to jam their signal, and that may be the easiest way to prevent them from being able to control it themselves. But my first idea was they can easily take these out with the scalar weapons as described in the Dr. Bernard Easonthart patent and the Tesla patents that I've covered on my channel. And who knows, when there are 15 scalar weapon countries, what's really going on, what is the real technology they have. Perhaps it's not what they're showing us. And some think they're 40 years ahead of consumers, the intelligence agencies, I mean. So if you generate a Tesla plasma shield in the air, they wouldn't be able to go through that. I don't know what this is supposedly showing. I thought, are these attacks on the vehicles, basically? Or is this a bigger drone that takes out smaller consumer drones? So when you can take control of the little drones, then you can crash them, of course, just taking control of them is not enough. You can't just land them safely if they're weaponized consumer drones or anything. Then a system has to be in place to deal with that, to protect and serve the tax-paying citizens. DefenseSystems.com. More about countermeasures to drone strikes. Here we see another interesting one. Perhaps we should all fly a kite or something. It's UAVs and anti-drone technology. Defense Turkey magazine. The era of the drone swarm is coming. What are the rules exactly? Do they differ from country to country? Can we have international law? We've seen, or at least I saw an article, a report about tourists being arrested in Iran for flying a drone over, perhaps they didn't know military installation or something like that. I don't know if they've been released yet. This is a really cool picture. So if there's 100 million per drone, then you can do the math yourselves. Then we're looking at 500 million US dollars basically when we're looking at this image. So then it has to look nice basically. But these things can't save a single human life, you could argue. They can only kill. But that's not true, they have cameras, so basically it is a defense system, you could argue. So yeah, I want to prevent a world war, so why not concentrate or focus on protecting Saudi Arabia's airspace? Is somebody doing that? Let's check the news. Saudi Arabia implicates Iran in oil attacks. Well, I already suspected that from previous things. I don't remember what it was, but it seems like they are in on creating a world war over Iran with Israel and the US. So that may be their plan, or perhaps they're extorted with remote torture technology or whatever. Nothing is what it seems, trust no one. Universal peace now. We don't want total self-annihilation. It's not good enough for us. And all who do want that need to be seeked out by the AI, and if they have the power to do these things, then they have to prevent it from happening somehow.
Saudi Arabia implicates Iran in oil attacks. Wall Street Journal, blog -29 minutes ago. Riyadh, Saudi Arabia said it holds Iran responsible for attacks that debilitated Saudi oil facilities, directly implicating Tehran for the first time. Saudi Arabia promises concrete proof Iran behind oil plant. CBC.com. Saudi oil attack highlights Middle East's drone war. Financial Times, September 17, 2019. Long before the attack on Saudi Arabia's oil facilities that knocked out half Saudi Arabia, and in May, the rebels claimed they had used drones to attack. Electronic warfare and then the full range of countermeasures that go. The devastating attack on Saudi oil plants confirms the worst. Business Insider. South Africa, September 16, 2019. Global oil prices stabilizing at faster pace than expected after the world on a rang 18 hours ago. The devastating attack on Saudi oil plants confirms the worst. International Business Insider September 16, 2019 View all. 𝙲𝙾𝙽𝚃𝚃.com. Addressing HOUTHI'S and anti-drone technology with a multi-pronged response. Anti-drone technology, also known as counter-UAV or CS technology, refers to systems that are used to detect and neutralize unmanned aerial vehicles. As concerns grow around the potential security threats that drones may pose to both civilian and military infrastructure, a promising new market for anti-drone technology has emerged. Unmanned aerial vehicles, UAVs, or commonly known as drones, are aircraft without a human pilot on board. The introduction of UAVs has been one of the most significant technological advances in recent years. The capabilities and availability of UAVs are developing quickly, and they now present both challenges and opportunities. Drones are now being used widely due to their availability, ease of use and low cost. While their widespread use and popularity bring benefits to certain industries, drones also pose significant risks to aviation, public security, and military operations. As drones become more common in the skies, so too do incidents. Aircraft collisions are increasing dramatically, while terrorist organizations are exploiting the accessibility that they offer. With the Syrian civil war, numerous state and non-state actors have had the opportunity to test new weapon systems under battlefield conditions and learn operational concepts and tactics. The current hybrid warfare environment with state proxies introduced new asymmetrical capabilities that challenge the established superiority of conventional armed forces. As an emerging threat, drones are now used by various armed groups on the battlefield, where they are deployed almost daily to carry out covert and unprecedented attacks. While solutions to counter this threat are also introduced, according to the reports published by the Center for the Study of the Drone, there is a wide variance in the effectiveness and reliability of counter-drone systems. To mitigate danger from drones, a multi-pronged response is required, including appropriate rules and regulations combined with technological solutions, as well as a prudential shift in law enforcement's approach to unmanned aerial systems. Serious risk of collision. Since drone prices have become more affordable, drone sightings near airports have been on the rise for years, as have the reports of drone near misses with aircraft. At least 7 collisions have been reported between aircraft and drones worldwide. It has become an especially serious issue in the United States, with around 100 reports per month. A majority of the incidents occur within 8 kilometers of the airport, which is prohibited airspace for drones. According to the Directorate General of Civil Aviation, the number of UAV pilots in our country has increased to 35,000, and the number of UAVs has increased to 27,000 as of the end of last year. In just 1 year, 7,000 more UAVs were registered to the General Directorate of Civil Aviation, DGCA, while the number of UAV pilots increased by 13,000 with record growth. As a result of this increase in the number of UAVs and drone users, the DGCA has prepared a draft regulation that reorganizes UAV instructions. One of the most important changes in this legislative amendment is the introduction of the UAV operator definition, as in the case of airlines, so that companies that meet the necessary requirements can become UAV operators. Another important change is the removal of the definitions of uncrowded, crowded, and overcrowded areas and replacing them with green, restricted, red, permit required, and no-fly zone definitions. Drones lead to serious airport traffic disruption. Commercial drones have started to cause a significant amount of disturbance at airports in recent years. They pose an extreme safety risk to passenger jets and disrupt airports by forcing airlines to suspend flight operations. In late December 2018, the second largest airport in the UK, Gatwick Airport near London, England, was shut down after 3 days of drone sightings. The reports caused major disruption, affecting 1,000 flights carrying approximately 140,000 passengers at an estimated cost of over £50 million over the course of 36 hours. Authorities regained the control of Gatwick Airport only after the British Army deployed an Israeli-built drone dome defense system, and the flights resumed 3 days later. To protect themselves from future incidents, both Gatwick and Heathrow airports confirmed that they have acquired and installed their own anti-drone systems. Cause for considerable concern. Unfortunately, drones are emerging as a cheap and effective way to deliver a variety of physical threats. It is a very well-known fact that various terrorist groups use drones during their attacks. The new drone systems have become smarter in recent years with the development of various technologies, accelerating the work on anti-drone systems. Defending civilian infrastructure differs from that of military facilities. Drones can now be pre-programmed with GPS coordinates, allowing the device to automatically move to their destination without user input during flight. Drones are preferred by terrorist organizations due to their low cost, speed, maneuverability, payload capacity, and risk-free advantages. They have become a serious threat for critical plants such as nuclear power plants, stadiums or airports. Although there hasn't been a tragic incident so far, the fact that drones strengthen the psychological effects of terrorism makes the issue even more sensitive. As the popularity of drones increase, it will be easier to obtain them, causing greater risks to both safety and security. The widespread availability of drones and the potential danger of this situation is one of the most important reasons for the development of anti-drone systems. In Syria and Iraq, the ISIS terrorist organization operated a wide variety of drones to carry out coordinated attacks. ISIS' ability to operate small UAVs dramatically changed the balance of capabilities between the terrorist group and the US-led coalition forces. In October 2016, the terrorist group used unmanned aerial systems armed with explosive ordnance to conduct numerous attacks against tactical and strategically important targets by dropping grenades and small bombs on groups of soldiers, vehicles, and buildings. The group carried out more than 200 such attacks in 2017 alone. Parallel to the developments in UAV systems, ISIS also used drones at the tactical and operational level to provide reconnaissance, surveillance intelligence, and to guide their militants and vehicle-borne 𝙲𝙾𝙲𝚃 more accurately toward their targets. Related to the ongoing conflicts in Syria, on January 6, 2018, Al Nusra Front militants carried out a drone swarm attack against 𝙲𝙾𝙲𝚃 and 𝚃𝙷𝙰𝚃 bases used by the Russian Federation Armed Forces. As the first of this kind in the history of warfare, this particular attack was quite significant as it demonstrated the threat level that UAVs can easily reach. According to the statement by the Russian Ministry of Defense, 13 fixed-wing drones, each armed with 10 pieces of improvised explosive devices, weighing approximately 400 grams, were involved in the attack. The effective radius of the ordnance was stated to be 50 meters. Militants targeted the 𝙲𝙾𝙲𝚃 air base with 10 UAVs and 𝚃𝙷𝙰𝚃 naval base with 3 UAVs. It was also reported that another UAV equipped with camera systems was also used for damage assessments and firing adjustments. The presence of a surveillance drone may indicate the tactical command control capabilities of the militants in coordinating the drone attack in real time. Head of the Russian General Staff's Office for UAV Development, Major General Alexander Novikov, stated that 6 of 13 drones had been neutralized by electronic warfare systems and the remaining 7 were shot down by the Pantsir-S-2 air defense system. The improved version of the earlier Pantsir-S-1, Pantsir-S-2 is armed with 2 very high-rated fire 2A38M 30mm automatic anti-aircraft guns derived from the GSH-30 twin-barrel 30mm aircraft-mounted cannon. The Pantsir-S-2 also carries the new highly capable 57E6E guided surface-to-air missile. Since 2015, Yemen's government has been in a civil war against the Houthi movement that originated in northern Yemen, part of a larger regional conflict between Saudi Arabia and Iran. This controversial conflict has caused considerable casualties and a famine that's killed an estimated 50,000 people. The U.S. government has also been involved in the conflict, supplying weapons to the Saudi-led coalition against the Houthi rebels. The Iran-aligned Houthis have launched a series of drone attacks since early 2018. In July, Houthis carried out an attack against Saudi Aramco oil refinery in Riyadh with armed drones and another one against the international airport in the UAE. On January 10, 2019, the Iranian-backed group conducted a targeted attack with a bomb-laden drone, killing at least 6 members of the Saudi-backed Yemeni forces gathered at an army parade near the Al-Anad airbase, including a number of senior Yemeni military officers as well as military intelligence head Major Gen. Mohammed Saleh Sama. The most important factor in Houthi drone attacks is that these actions have a versatile and holistic profile. Considering the Iranian connection, the use of drones by these irregular forces can be considered as part of the proxy war concept. The ballistic missile attacks adopted by the Houthi militants with the possible technical assistance of Iran have had devastating results for the Saudi-led coalition, causing more than 100 casualties. Within this context, the Houthis launched a series of drone strikes against MEM-104 Patriot PAC-3 air defense systems located in the central Yemeni province of Marib in February 2018 with Case-1 drones, and the Najran Regional Airport in southern Saudi Arabia in May 2019 using Case-2K drones, according to a report of the Conflict Armament Research (CAR) group. The Case family of drones are near identical copies of the Iranian-made 𝙵𝙸𝚁𝚂𝚃, which can carry a 30 kg warhead. In summary, the acquisition of capabilities of non-state actors is a serious matter that needs to be addressed in the very near future, because terrorist organizations employ the majority of their platforms in a kamikaze type of attack. It is critical to prevent these organizations from establishing a supply chain that is essential for operational continuity. Furthermore, not relying on a single system and using combined elements such as electronic warfare and various air defense systems together, to counter the drone threat, as in the case of the Russian approach against the drone swarm attacks, will become increasingly important. Countering the threat, the number of anti-drone systems has increased dramatically in recent years as a result of drone-related threats against critical facilities and civil aviation. Conventional air defense systems designed to counter manned air platforms cannot provide efficient results against unmanned systems. Since air defense systems are generally designed against large aerial platforms, they could be ineffective at detecting drones with a much smaller radar cross-section, RCS, at long distances. Furthermore, developing low-cost solutions is one of the most important requirements when designing dedicated systems to counter RAV threat. Unlike conventional air defense systems, according to the CSD Counter-Drone Systems report published by the Center for the Study of the Drone at Bard College in February 2018, there are currently 235 anti-drone solutions sold by 155 companies from 33 different countries. The HOUTHI'S Consortium, Blighter Surveillance Systems, Chess Dynamics and Enterprise Control Systems, Product Counter-UAS Defense System, EMI Systems, Israeli Military Industries, Product Red Sky Drone Defender System and Israeli Rafael Advanced Defense Systems Product Drone Dome System, which was reportedly used at Gatwick Airport, are among the most capable anti-UAS systems available worldwide. The development of anti-UAS systems is directly related to the characteristics of the areas where such systems will be used. In residential areas and metropolises, anti-UAS systems are frequently used to protect centers with a high concentration of civilians and critical facilities against terrorist threats. Anti-UAS systems to be used in rural areas and residential areas can have significant differences between them. This situation creates numerous challenges for the use of these systems in important locations with a potential threat. Anti-drone systems utilize different types of technologies such as radar, RF scanners, acoustic sensors, and electro-optical thermal, or cameras to detect mini and micro-UAVs. Anti-drone systems employ radars as their primary detection technology. Special radars capable of operating in all weather conditions are used to detect low-flying UAVs and differentiate them from other aerial platforms and birds. As a passive detection method, RF scanners can detect drones by scanning their frequency bands. The operating principle of RF scanners is similar to that of radars but differs from them by using passive detection technology. Anti-drone systems can also be integrated with acoustic sensors that can detect drones from engine and propeller noise, to identify and classify drones detected by these active, radar, or passive, RF, acoustic, techniques. Anti-drone systems use electro-optical camera systems that can detect UAVs with day, night or infrared sensors. Since the technologies alone are not effective in detecting all different types of UAV threats as standalone systems, existing anti-drone systems use these methods in an integrated way. Moreover, artificial intelligence can also be used for the identification and classification of UAVs. Anti-drone systems use a combination of different techniques which can be grouped as kinetic and non-kinetic to eliminate threats. Non-kinetic solutions intercept the drones without directly damaging the device by interfering with the communications signals that drones rely on for guidance and control. Non-kinetic solutions include technologies such as RF jammers, GPS jamming, and spoofing. As the most commonly used method, RF jammers neutralize HOUTHI'S by disrupting the radio transmission or satellite communication signals used for navigation. The disconnected drones either proceed to land on their current position or return to their takeoff point. RF jammers are also capable of blocking the audio and video feed transmitted from HOUTHI'S. However, this method is ineffective against autonomous systems as they do not rely on a permanent connection with their users. Along with GPS jamming and spoofing, RF jamming is the most widely used method by anti-drone systems today. GPS jamming refers to deceiving GPS-capable devices by broadcasting false GPS signals relaying incorrect geolocation coordinates. Spoofing, also known as protocol manipulation, is used against HOUTHI'S to take control of the targeted drones by hijacking their command control or satellite navigation communication. However, one major drawback of RF jammers is the level of precision required to jam drone signals while not interfering with other frequencies. RF jammers must be continuously pointed at the drones to work as intended. Another problem is, RF jammers cannot counter specific radio signals but a range of frequencies, typically from 2.4 to 5.0 MHz, which means that any communication device operating in the jammer's frequency range would also be disrupted. Kinetic solutions, or commonly known as hard kill measures, use physical force to neutralize and render drones inoperable. One of the primary advantages of kinetic solutions is that they work against HOUTHI'S, which follow pre-programmed GPS coordinates without relying on RF, Wi-Fi, or other communication protocols. The most prominent methods for countering HOUTHI'S with kinetic capabilities include projectiles, rockets, and laser systems. Certain anti-drone systems such as the 𝙲𝙾𝙃 Consortium Counter-UAS Defense System, Kongsberg XM153 Crows 2M134 Weapon Adapter Kit, or the 𝚃𝙾𝙃 Anti-Drone System, 𝚃𝙾𝙃 HERBIVORES fitted with 40mm Mk19 Mod 3 AGL using atomic burst munition, can be combined with remote-controlled weapon stations to provide a high volume of destructive firepower against HOUTHI'S. Although this method is generally considered more primitive, it provides better results than other solutions. Recently, anti-drone system producers have also started to demonstrate their solutions to neutralize drones with laser weapons. The U.S. defense giants Raytheon and Boeing, as well as German Rheinmetall and MBDA Deutschland, have been heavily investing in directed energy weapon systems. All the companies are currently developing high-energy laser weapon systems against aerial threats, including HOUTHI'S. Turkish defense industry companies Aselsan, LSS, Laser Defense System, and Roketsan, HOUTHI'S, have also introduced their own directed energy systems. Lasers are considered as part of kinetic interdiction methods because they directly damage or destroy drones. Directed energy weapons have become the preferred choice of militaries around the world for future implementations, as this capability can be especially effective against small, fast, and agile HOUTHI'S. The most obvious disadvantage of kinetic counter-drone solutions is that they pose a significant risk of collateral damage. Kinetic solutions rely on physically damaging or disabling drones and rendering them inoperable. Once a drone is knocked out of the sky, it simply falls down, endangering people or critical infrastructure that may happen to be below it. Therefore, using kinetic solutions in heavily populated areas or sensitive facilities creates a serious safety risk. Another method that anti-drone systems employ against HOUTHI'S is to disable their propellers by using nets. The nets can be carried by another drone or launched from different devices. This particular method was first used in April 2015. In Japan to catch a rogue drone that landed on the roof of the Prime Minister's office while carrying small traces of radioactive material in protest against the government's nuclear energy policies. In a unique approach, Dutch company Guard from Above trains eagles to intercept rogue drones. The large birds of prey wear protective shin guards to protect their legs from the drone's rotors. According to the company's statement, The natural predators trained by certified bird handlers have a 95% intercept rate. The stated success rate is currently higher than many ballistic kinetic solutions. Examples from Turkey, with the coordination of the Presidency of Defense Industries, SSB, Turkish defense industry companies have developed anti-drone technologies to counter the proliferated drone threat against civilian and military areas. Developed by well-renowned defense companies Aselsan, METHYLCOBALAmin Defense, and SDT respectively, the anti-drone systems are designed to protect critical facilities by neutralizing potential unmanned aerial vehicles, UAVs, threats with their integrated RF jammer capabilities and optional hard kill features. Aselsan anti-drone system, developed in cooperation with the Turkish Armed Forces and the Presidency of the Defense Industries, SSB. Aselsan anti-drone system designed to counter mini and micro-UAV threats in urban and rural environments. The system is used to protect critical military and commercial sites from micro, mini UAV threats. The 𝙬𝙯 system consists of a radar and electro-optical sensor, RF countermeasure, tactical signal emulator and command control system, in order to utilize the most effective countermeasure in terms of efficiency and security. Aselsan's 𝙬𝙯 system provides an integrated and coordinated operation of radar, electro-optical sensor, and RF jammer with command and control capabilities. The system can be operated in mobile of fixed configuration. 𝙬𝙯 uses the advanced capability Aselsan radar, ACAR, as its primary surveillance sensor. It is a solid-state pulse-stopper radar which operates in Q band, 12.5 to 18 GHz, frequency.
So yeah, people have to watch out with the EVP, electronic voice phenomena generator. So basically they can use this to create an electronic voice phenomena. And I first recorded alphabet
A, B, C.
And then it chops it up into little pieces basically and forms new words. You have all kinds of settings. And it can be fun. But of course it can be the AI that has the smear campaign against me, that's manipulating the outcome of the EVP generator basically, because it is a program running on my PC, and with wireless energy theoretically they can influence this. Possibly controlling the chip directly. Who knows what would be the easiest way to do that with the scalar technology of Nikola Tesla. So the point is, these are not my messages when I turn this on, but it could be the AI. Perhaps even an AI that wants to annihilate this whole generation from our future, if time travel is possible. Well, I heard nothing in it this time, but perhaps if I hear it via YouTube, then perhaps all kinds of messages start appearing.
A car uses a mechanically scanned antenna with selectable rotation speed. The highly accurate radar can scan 360 degrees or a specific sector with adjustable sector width. It can track multiple targets automatically and has a track while scan capability in surveillance mode. The radar can also detect many HEALTHI'S with a radar cross-section of 0.5 square meters at 5 kilometers. A car is used together with an EO imaging system with both thermal and daylight cameras. This is used for the identification of targets once they have been detected by the radar. As the primary countermeasure, ITER uses the 𝙵𝙸𝚁𝚃 active RF jammer system to provide protection against all known micro and mini EV attacks. The 𝙵𝙸𝚁 system covers all frequency bands and provides simultaneous jamming capability against remote control, RC, devices, radios, PMR and FRS, GPS receivers, LAN applications, ISM bands, GSM 900, DCS 1800, 3G and 4G. The system also provides directional jamming against specific threats and omnidirectional jamming against swarm attacks with its specially designed antenna, creating a semi-spherical protection umbrella. The ITER anti-drone system can be combined with jammers, laser, and a 40 mm grenade launcher according to the requirements of the customers to provide both soft kill and hard kill capabilities. While the RF jammer is the preferred system to be used in urban areas, the 40 mm grenade launcher can be used in critical sites with open fields if needed. As part of the development, the integration of the 40 mm grenade launcher into the system is still underway and is expected to be completed within the next year. The ITER anti-drone system can be operated both manually and automatically and requires only a single crew member. The system incorporates automation and elements of machine learning designed to ensure that the system can counter future threats.
Universal peace now.
Well, if you all hear anything in it, I'd love to find out via the comments. People can always Skype me, 𝙵𝙸𝚃𝚃999 on Skype.
ITER is customizable with its open and modular architecture, which enables integration of different radar and countermeasures into the system. In addition, ITER can also be integrated with a 𝙲𝙾𝙽𝚃𝚃 chameleon tactical signal emulator to take control of drones by emulating the signals of the RF controller. Chameleon can be used as an arbitrary waveform generator or programmable noise generator. It can generate both electronic warfare, waveforms and civilian communication waveforms with a single waveform generator, 𝙃𝙃 and 𝚃𝙾 anti-drone system. The appearance of drones as a threat has become a new topic over the past few years, and there are discussions worldwide about what may be the most effective solution to this threat. There are several aspects to this issue, all of which need to be addressed separately. 𝙃𝙃 Defense has developed the 𝚃𝙾 anti-drone system as a scalable solution that can handle various missions. 𝚃𝙾 anti-drone system offers superior drone detection and tracking performance with the 𝙵𝙰𝙲𝚃𝚃 anti-drone radar, EO camera system and countermeasure systems provided by 𝚃𝙃 Defense's solution partners, such as jamming and laser weapon systems. Unveiled at IDEF 2019, the 𝚃𝙃 is a 𝚃𝙃 Defense product that provides in-depth analyses and rigorous field tests regarding drone detection. This version of the 𝚃𝙃 fields a new antenna that has been designed specifically for the surveillance of airspace and for the detection of drones with high-performance hardware and special algorithms. The 𝚃𝙃 is a pulse Doppler, multimode radar using different waveforms, which operates in multimode Q band, 26.5 to 40 GHz/12.5 to 18 GHz, frequency. The 𝚃𝙃 anti-drone system offers superior drone detection and tracking performance with a radar system and thermal, day cameras and eliminates drones with an RF jammer and an optional laser system. Different systems have been appropriately integrated into the 𝚃𝙃 anti-drone system with standard interfaces and scalable architectures to create an effective solution against drone threats in different situations and scenarios. The 𝚃𝙃 can detect aerial targets at longer ranges, 9 km, and scan a broader area, 40 degrees, thus turning 𝚃𝙃 into a more potent drone hunter. The 𝚃𝙃 anti-drone system is capable of classifying and identifying targets in far distances with low visibility conditions where detection with camera systems is difficult. The highly flexible system can be used on a stationary position or on a vehicle thanks to its single-axis integration and single-point connectivity features. The 𝚃𝙃 anti-drone system provides continuous 360 degrees coverage as well as angular surveillance in selected sectors with alarm zone management. Designed to be functional against swarm-𝚲s, the system can be integrated into existing security systems and reduce unwanted electromagnetic interference with directional jamming. Furthermore, a laser countermeasure system can also be integrated into the 𝚃𝙃 anti-drone system as an optional feature to provide hard kill capability when requested. The system is capable of destroying and neutralizing drones at 500 meters with a high-power laser emitter located on the optical tracking and guidance unit. The EO unit is mounted on a stabilized 3-axis gimbal for precise orientation, and it consists of a SWOR camera, camera, daylight camera, laser rangefinder, laser optics, GPS, magnetic compass, and image processing subunits. President of 𝚃𝙃 Defense, 𝚃𝚃 emphasized that the 𝚃𝙃 system has the ability to rapidly respond to newly emerging threats. The appearance of drones as a threat is a new topic over the past few years, and there are discussions worldwide about what may be the most effective solution to this threat. There are many aspects to this issue, all of which need to be addressed separately. We have developed the 𝚃𝙃 anti-drone system as a scalable solution that can handle various missions. The 𝚃𝙃 anti-drone system consists of the 𝚃𝙃 anti-drone radar, camera system and countermeasure systems provided by 𝚃𝙃 Defense's solution partners, such as jamming and laser weapon systems. The 𝚃𝙃 is a 𝚃𝙃 Defense product that provides in-depth analyses and rigorous field tests regarding drone detection. This version of the 𝚃𝙃 fields a new antenna that has been designed specifically for the surveillance of airspace and for the detection of drones with high-performance hardware and special algorithms. In the last quarter of 2017, 𝚃𝙃 Defense secured the first export contract for the 𝚃𝙃 PTR with an undisclosed country. The company scored its second export success on July 12, 2018, with the 𝚃𝙃 PTR-X, an improved version of the PTR radar. The system was selected as the perimeter surveillance system of an unnamed airport in the capital of a European country, and it has been in use ever since. SDT-AVSI.
So somebody thought that these attacks were possibly done with a laser, because missiles would let this explode basically, so could these attacks have been done with a laser? Agenda-free TV has a broadcast about this stuff as well on YouTube. So I think he thought that this wasn't done by missiles, that they would do a lot more damage. So let me know what you all think in the comments about this one.
Anti-drone system. The 𝙤𝙾𝚃 anti-drone system is designed to detect, track and defeat micro and mini unmanned aerial vehicles, UAVs, and unmanned aircraft systems, as engaged in hostile airborne surveillance and potentially hostile activity. 𝙤𝙾 developed the HEALTHIES system to meet the specific requirements of the Turkish armed forces and security forces. HEALTHIES is a smart sensor and countermeasure package capable of remotely detecting small UAVs and then tracking and classifying them before providing the option to disrupt their activity. The thermal cameras on the system are provided by the Turkish company 𝙵𝙰𝙲𝚃. The system combines electronic scanning radar target detection, electro-optical, EO, tracking, classification and directional RF jamming capability. Unlike other similar Turkish systems that use mechanically scanned radars, the HEALTHIES system employs 𝚃𝙷𝙰𝚃, passive electronically scanned array, radars produced by UK-based 𝙵𝙸𝚃𝚃 surveillance systems. During IDEF 2019, 𝙤𝙃 signed an agreement with 𝙵𝙸𝚃 to locally produce the radars. The HEALTHIES anti-drone system uses A400 series radars which operate in Ku-band frequency. The radar is a modular non-rotating, electronic scanning, E-scan, system using power-efficient 𝚃𝙷𝚃, passive electronically scanned array, and FMCW, frequency-modulated continuous wave, technologies to provide reliable, micro and mini UAV detection in all weather conditions. It is able to detect UAVs with a radar cross-section of 0.01 square meters at ranges up to 10 kilometers. The A400 series radars use D3, digital drone detection, technology that enables them to extract tiny radar reflections from modern plastic-bodied UAVs even when flying close to the ground or near buildings where clutter reflections are relatively large. The radar covers 180 degrees and can be used in back-to-back configuration to provide 360 degrees surveillance. Target tracking software and extensive zone filtering features allow drones to be detected while reducing false alarms from birds. The HEALTHIES system weighs around 350 kilograms and 𝙤𝙃 is currently working on a lighter version of the system to be used on military surveillance vehicles. The system may be used in remote or urban areas to prevent UAVs from being used for attacks or malicious activities against sites with critical infrastructure. The 𝙤𝙃 anti-drone system can use various sensor subsystem configurations based on requirements. Detected drones can be defeated using directional, omnidirectional jamming solutions or hard kill solutions. Although these indigenous counter-UAV systems were designed and developed to primarily protect military bases and critical facilities, the growing interest in commercial unmanned systems and the changing threat environment by extension, created a need for the use of these systems in civilian environments. Ever since the drone-related incidents, and the questions that arose regarding the security of crowded places, counter-drone systems began to appear at various events and risky locations such as airports, stadiums, and convention centers with increasing regularity. Regarding the recent incidents, the growing demand for anti-drone systems from outside the military domain is expected to play an important role in accelerating the efforts to develop more integrative and cost-effective solutions in the coming years. Conclusion: the need for anti-drone systems has once again been revealed with the increasing number of illegal activities carried out with drones, which are now easily accessible in the civilian market. There has been a significant increase in drone-related incidents and illegal activities reported over recent years. It is clear that drones can be used for malicious intent, and this will pose a far greater threat in the future with the advancement of technology. Thus, it is highly essential to introduce the necessary regulations and establish a nationwide multi-layer defense network against HOUTHI'S threats for the protection of critical facilities. Preventing the use of HOUTHI'S by terrorist and criminal organizations for the national security of our country is also another issue that should be taken into consideration. Considering the new developments in HOUTHI'S technology and the possibility that today's anti-drone systems would not provide sufficient protection in the future, studies on anti-drone systems should proceed without slowing down.
So, I think that it's clear. I've clarified several things in my previous broadcast as well, so check them out. And I'm gonna take some more colloidal silver if I can remember it, and perhaps dress warmly or whatever. I know it's cold mainly. So if they've done these drone attacks, they should be prevented from doing another one and creating a world war over it. Perhaps what's their next step gonna be? They're gonna let some terrorists they finance attack US soldiers perhaps. Trump has talked about obliteration, etc. Some people may be convinced that this is their plan, Third World War and global government, etc. And I would love to know what evidence they have that they base this on, because just a video game by the name of World War III, that's not enough to convince some people that now it's really gonna happen. It's perhaps some people are convinced because of that video game World War III that now this is their end game, and this is the signal that's typical for what they do to cover it up in the YouTube search. Everybody writing about a possible world war, everybody that could interfere with their plan, which they might themselves find ingenious or brilliant or smart. We can all think about if we can do anything to prevent this, and also be prepared ourselves. And other than that, I hope they have an agreement with Putin before they do anything. Did I bookmark the article? There was some other article. I think I covered this one in the previous broadcast already. Oh, I spelled it right first time. But it doesn't matter, it corrects it anyway. So sometimes I deliberately misspell things to check the algorithms, how it works, basically what it would show as search results.
Lindsey Graham and Trump disagree over past response to Radio Farda. 12 hours ago, Republican Senator Lindsey Graham has criticized President Donald Trump's response to the shooting down of an American drone by Iran in Trump feuds with Lindsey Graham over weak Iran policy. Daily Beast. 16 hours ago, Donald Trump sets Twitter ablaze with no Lindsey dig. HuffPost. 7 hours ago, Trump loyalists send Lindsey Graham calls attack on Saudi oil. The Japan Times. 20 hours ago, Trump and Lindsey Graham get into spat on Twitter over Iran. International. New York Post. 1 hour ago, Trump rebuts Graham. My response to Iran was a sign of. International. CNN. 15 hours ago. Donald Trump sets Twitter ablaze with no Lindsey dig. GOP send Lindsey Graham incurred Trump's wrath after a tweet about weakness over Iran. Send Lindsey Graham, rs.c, drew a sharp reaction from Donald Trump on Tuesday after he said the president's measured response to Iran's downing of a U.S. military drone in June had been interpreted by the Iranian regime as a sign of weakness. Graham, one of the president's most vocal supporters, appeared to suggest in a Twitter thread that Trump's decision to call off a retaliatory military strike on Iran had emboldened its leaders, who he suggested were involved in drone attacks on Saudi Arabian oil facilities over the weekend. CNN interview with no obligation to be honest. Corey Lewandowski sparks online fury. Navy confirms, those UFO videos are real and never should have been released. On Saturday, Graham advocated for the U.S. to consider attacks on Iranian refineries in response. Lindsey Graham. At Lindsey Graham's great briefing by VP Pence to the Senate Republican conference regarding the attack on Saudi oil facilities, it's clear to me that such a sophisticated attack could not have occurred without Iran's blessing and direct involvement. 6295 9:48 p.m., September 17.
I think that's utter nonsense. So they'd have to prove that first before accusing a whole country of these things.
Lindsey Graham. At Lindsey Graham's replying to at Lindsey Graham's cat VP, this is literally an act of war and the goal should be to restore deterrence against Iranian aggression, which has clearly been lost. 1079 9:57 p.m., September 17, 2019. Lindsey Graham. At Lindsey Graham's replying to at Lindsey Graham's cat VP, the measured response by President at real Donald Trump regarding the shooting down of an American drone was clearly seen by the Iranian regime as a sign of weakness. Trump, however, hit back on Twitter, "No Lindsey, it was a sign of strength that some people just don't understand." He wrote, Donald J. Trump. At real Donald Trump, "No Lindsey, it was a sign of strength that some people just don't understand." https://twitter.com/ At Lindsey Graham's replying to at Lindsey Graham's cat VP, the measured response by President at real Donald Trump regarding the shooting down of an American drone was clearly seen by the Iranian regime as a sign of weakness. Trump's snarky tweet predictably set the social media platform alight, given the president's cozy relationship with Graham since Trump took office. Lindsey Graham at 𝙲𝙾𝙽𝚃𝚾 22 hours. A great briefing by at VP Pence to the Senate Republican conference regarding the attack on Saudi oil facilities. It's clear to me that such a sophisticated attack could not have occurred without Iran's blessing and direct involvement.
So basically, to be able to confirm what the mainstream media writes, I'd have to verify a number of things. One is if the Houthis have this type of drone. Two is the name of the Houthi that claimed that they are responsible for these attacks. And three is what type of laser or missile have they used. And probably you can think of other things. So how can we be certain that this was not a false flag attack, a la the attack on the WTC ordered by Patron Skolvenbach, at that time the leader of the Jesuits? This is what cyberocracy looks like. Oh, Heather Hale. I don't agree with 88 basically, but 14. Well, you have a good and a bad 14 basically. And 88 in the sense of 888 becoming eternal or whatever, as a symbol for infinity. That's okay, but often 88 means that they are fascist or Nazis or anti-Semitic. people. Anyway, Lindsay, listen to yourself. If we nominate Trump, we will get destroyed, and we will deserve it. Donald Trump is a race-baiting, xenophobic, religious bigot. Unquote. So these are supposedly all Lindsey Graham quotes. You know how to make America great again? Tell Donald Trump to go to hell. How does it help? Any doubt Trump is completely unhinged? His assertion... Well, I don't see anything about... Lindsay, you a warmonger, question mark. Checking if he wants to attack Iran. Trump loyalist Senator Lindsey Graham calls attack on Saudi oil installations an quote act of war, unquote. Graham implores Trump to, quote, to take, quote, decisive action against Iran. Independent 3 days ago. Graham, US should consider strike on Iranian oil refineries. I've already responded with the idea that there should first be an agreement with Putin, who disagrees with the sanctions, so that it doesn't evolve into a world war, because Russia is an ally of Iran. So I think preventing a world war is more important. This is not worth starting a world war over. And I doubt if it's really 5% of the world's cancer oil supply, but okay, that's just 5%, you know, it's not the end of the world. So that's it for now. I'm gonna round up this broadcast. Everybody get ready. See you all next time on Try Something.Vegetarian. Like, subscribe, and especially share stuff on your timelines to get me more views. I need more views, I need more power to create the perfect society and control factors that control aging. That's the first thing, the main thing we need to do. Not to invest more in the moronic nuclear weapons of self-destruction. And we shouldn't reduce the global population other than through education. Educated people have a lower birth rate. So perhaps by keeping them stupid, they are doing the opposite of what they want to do. So perhaps there is already a change in knowledge, in knowledge that people have. I think also the people at the top, because of internet, they can look up online what the experts think and what is written in books, and we can learn a lot. People, I think, can become a doctor learning from internet, become a homo universalis, a little Da Vinci or whatever. So yeah, that's it for this broadcast. I hope it prevents world war and creates universal peace. Thanks to Eric Young Phelps also for speaking out about certain people who may have a lot of power, who nobody else dares to speak out about, to a certain extent. he also talks about seceding sometimes and citizens' arrest perhaps, so these are two other tools besides boycotting that people may have. But don't be surprised if you end up in prison yourself if you're trying to arrest Trump or whatever. It's but some people advocate arresting the president if they have evidence and they know it's proven beyond any reasonable doubt. If they were eyewitnesses, for example, then they may have that idea. It's also a song by 𝙲𝙾 that everybody can play. Arrest the president. You got the evidence. Okay. Thank you all for watching. I don't know if there's any evidence, if it's all made up, or if he really did it, but many people think that when there are that many people that he must have done something. If there are so many people that accuse him of rape, and he was also in court, etc. So we should watch out if that's true, that he doesn't rape the nations, and that he doesn't rape all nations to death in a world war. And also Bolton replacement and Lindsey Graham, maybe dangerous people, and Trump should think about replacing them if they are a possible world war threat, if they're in a key position that they could create a world war, and if there are other people better suited to do the job. Which I haven't studied, so it's up to Trump, I guess. Unless they're all slaves of the Jesuits and Masons, if the Pope sits there with a button, and then if they don't say what he wants them to say, he pushes a button and then they go like that. But off camera, because they're all brain controlled. Okay, thank you all for watching, and see you next time. Try Something.Vegetarian on YouTube, and you could try something vegetarian for real, but also you could try more vegan stuff. There are healthy products out there that are wonderful, and others may taste awful. So if you've tried one vegetarian product and didn't like it, try something else. The soy of Albert Heijn might not be liked by many or any people, but they have some other Vivera burgers, for example, and the health food stores have even more choice in that area. And I advise people not to eat Gentech pork, but for now I'm really going to finish the broadcast. So thank you all for watching. Tune in next time on Try Something.Vegetarian. Be sure to check my other videos, and any donations, likes and shares are real love. So I do love everybody and appreciate it. Thank you all for your likes, subscribes and shares, and also for your comments. And people can always Skype me if they'd like to do a broadcast, ask me anything. Though I have a cold, I can still speak, so it's not a good talk programming tool. Okay, see you all next time. And if there's anything in my broadcast that could be in violation of the YouTube user policy, please let me know what it is, then I'll review it and cut it out or remove the whole broadcast. But I've made clear, I have denounced and still denounce strongly all attacks on any innocent civilians, no matter what skin color, religion, sexual preference, religious affiliation. I think that's clear. If we want to create a better future, we're not going to do that by taking the good people away and giving the bad people more power. Then we're cutting ourselves in the fingers, I think, so to speak, figuratively. Alright. Try something vegetarian. And prevent world warfare and create universal peace, please. Thank you.